Sola Scriptura, or scripture alone. What does that even mean? Should we believe it as followers of Jesus? Let's dive in. It simply means that scripture has the final authority, that it is sufficient enough on its own. Now, this doesn't mean that we can't lean on biblical teachers that we trust. It doesn't mean that we don't need to look at the historical context or scholarly research. What that simply means is that we need to allow those things to speak into our understanding of the scriptures, but that we should test what we believe about the scriptures with the scriptures themselves. Now, there are several objections to this idea of sola scriptura. It's a mystical objection. There are people that simply believe that God is so transcendent and above our understanding that we could not create sufficient human language that would best explain who he is and what he is about. So the scriptures simply rely as an opportunity for us to gain some insight, but the ultimate view of this is that our faith remains a mystery, and so does God. It's the Catholic objection. Now, many people are familiar with this, but our brothers and sisters in the Catholic faith, they believe that scripture is sufficient, but not on its own. See, they believe this dates all the way back to the time of Jesus when he established his church, and that Peter, in their view, became the first pope. Because of the position that Peter held, they believe that there is this hierarchy of spiritual authority that the church must have, meaning that the magisterium or the pope, that they have been given the spiritual authority by God himself in order to not only read and understand the scriptures, but interpret them for the Catholic faith. Can we trust these objections, or should we be people that believe in sola scriptura? Deuteronomy 30:11-14 says this: "For this commandment that I command you today is not hard for you, neither is it far off. It is not in heaven that you should say, 'Who will ascend to heaven for us and bring it to us, that we may hear it and do it?' Neither is it beyond the sea, that you should say, 'Who will go over the sea for us and bring it to us, that we may hear it and do it?' But the word is very near to you. It is in your mouth and in your heart, so that you can do it." So what is Deuteronomy 30 trying to tell us? Well, I believe it's trying to help us understand that scripture is clear and that we can fully trust it by itself, meaning that all things in scripture that are necessary for our salvation, and God has made it abundantly clear that the Bible is sufficient enough on its own to tell us what we should believe, especially in regards to the most fundamental issue, which is our salvation, that anyone who would call upon the name of the Lord, learned or unlearned, would be able to understand that clearly from the scriptures and be saved. Everything else secondary. Again, we derive from the scriptures, so we must arrive back to the scriptures to test and determine what we believe to be true.